Friday, September 30. Different time, but these are buffaloes. And it worked last week. We beat Oregon last week, and these little golden buffaloes. Sorry. The copy next to this video, I've heard there's an election underway this year. I have found during the year that attempting to write about the election makes at least half of readers furious, no matter who or what you write about. And so today, no names, just a subject, which, with any luck, will make everyone mad. Both candidates appear to be opposed to free trade deals of any kind, and they appear to be opposed to the patterns of world trade in the last 20 years or so and the damage that they've done. And I recommend otherwise. Since China opened to the world in 1990, and at the same time the Iron Curtain came down, and something on the order of 1.5 billion new workers and consumers all of a sudden entered the global workforce. Trade is one of the very few positive sum games in which, if I trade with you and you trade with me, we each have a new customer that we would not otherwise have. And the balance in trade is I sell to you what I'm best at, and you sell back to me what you're best at. The temptation everywhere is to cheat. And we know of cheating going back as far as we have recorded materials. The temptation to sell you what I'm good at, but when you try to sell me something, I tax it, which is known as a tariff. To protect my own workers is known as protectionism. In the last 25 years, the world trade has grown very much faster than world GDP. If you think about it, it means that every nation is more and more dependent on a customer over there than just customers here. And if we are insistent about making things ourselves alone, then we make our consumers buy things that are either lower quality or more expensive or both than they might buy someplace else. The consequences can be very painful. If you go back to jolly old New England, and our IT department camera person on the other side of this camera from New England, you go to places like New Bedford or Manchester, and what you see are old mills, beautiful old stone brick buildings, mostly brick, that are now being turned into condos, which at one time made things like shoes, which we don't make here anymore, and were literally abandoned, and their workers abandoned, as people who were better at making cheaper shoes than we were, we bought our shoes from them. To make trade work, we have to look after dislocated workers here. But one of the real sticking points in these trade agreements seems to be that they are negotiated in secret. We are all Democrats, small d, when whatever policy is under Democratic scrutiny or argument is going our way. But if it isn't going our way, then we're not Democrats at all, we want our way. Trade agreements, and there have been dozens and dozens of them, the early ones known as GATT, the General Agreement on Trade and Tariffs, have been very beneficial to economies of both sides. But part of the democratic process that is strange, you can have very powerful, very small minorities who can impede negotiations because they are the ones losing out to the specialty that's over there. Their concern is justified, their pain is justified. But trying to walk away from free trade, as my piece next to the video concludes, you needn't be concerned because we are all walking away from free trade right now. The data appended to the letter shows all over the world a relatively rapid decline in both imports and exports, and imports, especially in China and Germany, falling faster than exports. We are not going to have a trade war, we are having a trade war in slow motion, and the price of it is going to be lower overall economic activity. By all means, if you can stand it, support quiet negotiations among our elected representatives, and don't expect to be able to monkey with them on fine scale because every adjustment made in a trade agreement is a trade itself, a trade of specialties with a counterparty. Japanese do not want to give up rice growing. Our rice growers would like to sell them rice. Japan is not going to give up rice growing without some trade involving something like auto production or electronics. That's how these trades take place. They're not symmetric, but they're tremendously beneficial. All right, if everybody's mad, it's okay. Send me an email. Thanks a lot. Have a good weekend, and go Buffaloes.